Woman in her late 30s realizes she wants marriage and kids, feels betrayed by feminism. She actually wrote several articles. Bravo to her. I feel bad for her, but I'm glad that she's speaking her truth because her message may resonate and help many other women stop now before they find themselves in a similar position. This is a story of a woman who got married at a young age, but got divorced, didn't have kids, thought she wanted a career. And then she realized, as time went on, she wanted to spend her life with the love of her life and raise a family. But now she's almost 39 years old and she fears it's too late. She says in no uncertain terms that she feels betrayed by feminism. Oh boy. Well, we better get into all this and break down what she's saying and why it matters. And I'll start by playing a clip from her. You can hear in her own words.
So I feel unbelievably betrayed by feminism. And I don't want to put it on the movement because I believe you make your own choices. And everything I've done leading up to this point in my life has been my choice, and that's on me. But when I was a little girl, it was like, and to be fair, I think this partly comes from coming from a divorced family and seeing my mom kind of handle a lot. I mean, I just saw a woman take care of a lot. But I was constantly fed this idea that women can do everything. We don't really need men. Women can have the great career and have the kids that they like and change the tires and do this. I mean, I grew up thinking, and men are great, but like I can do all the same things. Like I really, I do feel in many ways betrayed by that line of thinking. And I got that from so many of the women in my life too. I mean, like I said, I do come from a very traditional family. So I wouldn't say so much from family, but just a lot of like the older women in my life. I kind of want to go back to some of those teachers and coaches and say, what the hell did you mean by that? Because women can't do it all. We can't.
So, oh man, can have it all. Can have it all, right? That's a 30 Rock joke where Tina Fey's character says, I really can have it all because she wants to have a relationship, a child, and be the boss at her big company. And you can't. I mean, look, some people can. It's very, very difficult to do. And there's a reason for it. This woman, Melissa Persling, also wrote this article from Business Insider. I'm 38 and single, and I've recently realized I want a child. I'm terrified I've missed my opportunity. I'm glad she's speaking out. I think it's very brave. She's going to be facing a huge backlash from the whole woke machine, and more women need to hear this because, my friends, maybe you're female. Maybe you don't want kids. Totally fine. You don't have to have kids. Maybe you don't want to get married. That's cool too. Maybe you want to be the CEO of a big tech company. That's fantastic. Good for you. The problem is there are many women who are feeling pressured into these positions they don't want. There was some viral article a while ago about someone looked up a bunch of profiles where women were like, I just want to be a mom, but society doesn't let me, and things like that. Well, there are a lot of women who probably would just rather be a mom, stay-at-home mom, take care of the house, raise a family, have children. And, well, modern society is not so much in favor of that. As we can see here with this example, this woman saying she was told by feminism, you can do it all, you can have it all. I've got bad news for you. I got bad news for all of these woke, egalitarian, far left, whatever you want to call it. Maybe egalitarian is the wrong word because you can be egalitarian but recognize biological differences. But these ultra woke men and women will never be equal. Thank you. Have a nice day, and we'll move on to the next segment. No, but in all seriousness, I'll tell you why. I'm not saying equality under the law. Equality under the law, we can reach a great deal of, but I do not believe we can ever have equality. That is not to say that men will be beneath or above, or men will be beneath or above. I'm saying they will not be the same, and they cannot be. Let's start with the obvious. Men have more more bone density, more muscle mass, more skin collagen, narrower hips, slighter Q angle. I mean, all of these things confer physical advantages, and everybody knows. Men also can't create people. Women can't. Well, men participate in the process of creation. So women do require men for the seed of life, but it is the female body that actually generates the human being. So men provide to the process of creating humans, but women are actually the ones who will grow and create a human being. Now, that's something incredible. I got to be honest. I believe there are very few feats a man could accomplish that could ever amount to the creation of another human life. I'll tell you why. You may be a strong, strapping young man. You may be the best in your industry. But what? You scored more points in a basketball game. You broke a record. You swam further. You built a machine. Those are all really great. But guess what? You are simply the vehicle by which that thing was created. And you were created by your mother and your father and built within the body of your mother. This is why, as legend tells it, I believe this is true, in Sparta, the only way to get a tombstone as a man was to die in battle. And the only way to get a tombstone as a woman was to die in childbirth. They viewed the man fighting to defend the village equally with the woman creating the life to sustain the society itself. But now we have many women being told you can be the same thing as the guy. Let's play the game. 38-year-old single woman wants to have a kid. Okay, well, you're running out of time. You're getting old. And I don't mean that as an insult. Doctors will tell you this. I think they say women should be having like the peak period is like early 20s, 24 maybe. 38. You can probably have a kid. It'll be a lot more difficult. You may have to use IVF, in vitro fertilization. Is it? Yeah, IVF. And it gets more difficult. But let's play this game. A man and a woman, 24 years old, both do want kids. The man says, I'm ready to have a kid now. I mean, I got a stable job. I'm making a decent salary. I can definitely support getting a small place and renting in the suburbs and having a wife and a kid. Wife wouldn't need to do all that much. Maybe she can do some odd income generation online or something. But for the most part, could probably stay home. And so he meets a young woman and she says she wants to, yes, absolutely have a kid. And they get together, have a kid. Now the dude's 25, 26. He's making a little bit more money. He's well on his way. Mom is staying home, taking care of the kids. Dad comes home. They have food together. He pays the bills. He does the work. She raises the kid. They say, hey, I'm making some more money. Why don't we have another kid? Now he's 28 or whatever. He's got 2 kids. He keeps working his job. He keeps growing up. Let's talk about the woman, 24 years old. She says, I also am making a good amount of money. I think I want to have a kid. Well, hold on there, Missy. You are going to create that kid. And so what happens is, even if we take the most like advantageous view or beneficial view to the woman that she would only miss a couple weeks of work. Let's say the woman decides to get pregnant with a man, and the man will stay home and do all of these things, and he'll be a stay-at-home dad, and that's fine. Although probably more rare, but let's be as beneficial to this argument and give them the benefit of the doubt, and all of the we'll maximize, no matter what. The woman will need time off to literally birth the child. And the man, yes, of course, will be there with the wife when she's giving birth to his child. But there is also the fact that some guys don't. Okay, that means there are some dudes you'd probably say are awful dudes and they're nasty. Fine. Advantage. They can choose to skip the birth of their kids and keep working. Okay, well, that's probably a crappy thing to do. That is a crappy thing to do. But some might. But let's just say they don't. The woman still needs a recovery period. There is a period where the woman cannot be working at the same level as a man. Depending on the job, she's not going to be working long hours because she is pregnant. I think it is silly to even, my view of this is a woman who is pregnant and on the verge of giving birth, trying to work an office job would be akin to a man trying to juggle a bunch of plates while lifting a car off a person and trying to file a bunch of forms. Like you're asking to do the most ridiculous, asking a guy to lift the car off a person pinned down while beating the record for free throws, thrown. It's like, how do you do this? You've got to switch one or the other. Stop throwing the basketballs and save the person, or let the person die and throw the basketballs. You can't do both at the same time. Now, people are going to say women can be pregnant and work at the same time. I'm saying not to the same level, because you're literally creating a human life. There's a body toll on this. I mean, morning sickness, the idea that men and women are physically the same, it's not true. Guys can have kids into their 70s. Who was it? Like some 70-year-old dude had a kid recently. Women can't. This means women have time constraints, men don't. That's just it. And for this, and because of biological differences, you're not going to have the law saying men and women are identical in every way and the law must be applied the same. Things will be different. It's a message that I think is, for the longest time, pushed by feminism, that equality, men and women are the same, you can have it all. It's a lie. You can be the strongest of the strong, but I think very few men are going to be able to actually have, quote unquote, it all. But let's talk about what it means for a man to have it all. To have a family, to have a job, sure. But men don't create life. Women do. The problem is the comparison between what a woman can do and what a man can do. A man being the CEO of a company is, in my opinion, a man being successful in business is equal to giving birth to a human being. Men cannot create human life, but they can create systems which will contribute to the betterment of society and human life and their families. Now, men can't gestate bodies, but they do contribute. And this is the point. I look at it this way. The amount that a man contributes to the creation of life is comparable to the amount a woman contributes to business and industry. You see what I mean? I'm not saying it's absolutely, one for one and there's a mathematics behind it. Women tend not to be CEOs. They tend not to break physical records. They tend to have less, like as I mentioned, bone density, muscle mass, etc. They're not going to run as fast or jump as far. Men are going to contribute to the creation of life, but they're not going to create life. It's like an 80-20 thing. Women do less in terms of external work, but they create life. Men do more in terms of external work, but contribute a decent amount to the creation of life. The seed, as it were, but not the creation of it. For too long, I think we have, as a society, been insulting to women and downplaying the great things that they are capable of doing as it's inherent to them. Maybe that's it. For whatever reason, society has said, no, you have to be skilled and really, really good at something. Instead of just saying you're naturally talented. I look at it this way. If you're if you're like over 7 feet tall, you have a 17% chance of playing in the NBA. Is that because of skill? No, it's because you're tall. Well, women produce amazing things, human beings. They do an amazing thing, and it's very difficult, and it's admirable, it's honorable, and it's just by nature of being women. It's the crazy thing. Why there's something wrong with. There's nothing wrong with that. It's beautiful. It's humanity, and men have the challenge of working really, really hard to prove themselves. It is what it is. I'll wrap with this because I don't want to rant on this one. This woman is amazing. I have tremendous respect for her. She was saying that when she put this article out, she started getting attacked by people who called her stupid and selfish and awful names. And that is the stupidest thing you could ever hear. This is a woman who, she says she doesn't want to put it all on feminism because she made her own choices. I respect that tremendously. But I also want to defend her a little bit and be like, dude, you were lied to and tricked. How were you supposed to know? You were a young person. You were supposed to have guidance from your elders. And she said, I'd go back to those women and ask them, what did you mean by this? She was tricked. And now she is acting as an elder who's experienced and giving that warning saying, hey, this is what I experienced. Now, her life isn't for everybody, but it's important that message is out there. She was tricked. She made mistakes. And she's correcting them by passing on knowledge and experience to a younger generation that may help them. That is tremendously respectable. So bravo, Melissa. It is really, really great what you're doing. She's writing more about this, speaking out more about this. And it must be scary to have, even apparently guys who would agree with the traditional lifestyle insulting her over it. Nah. What you want is traditional men who have families to be giving her awards, to be shaking her hand and being like, what you are doing, speaking out against the lies and calling it out is an honorable thing. We're sorry that you were tricked into believing these things. And we appreciate you've accepted your role in making the mistakes. You've accepted personal responsibility. You've pointed out that you were lied to, and now you're speaking out against it. Nothing could be more honorable. What she is proposing is not for everybody. But the fact that she is standing up for what she believes in and expressing this stuff is tremendously important. So bravo. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 8 p.m. over at youtube.com/TimcastIRL. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.